web and email communications. And then before I just kind of jump into, here's how you use your website and here's how you use email to promote Give STL Day, I kind of wanted to just give an overall of the top 3 website design best practices, separate from Give STL Day, because if you don't have the basics in place, you're going to have a really hard time, not just with Give STL Day, but fundraising online in general. So top 3 website design best practices, top 3 email marketing best practices. Then we'll jump into about a third of the way into the webinar, how to create a Give STL Day online hub on your website and how to launch a Give STL Day email strategy. And then as Neosha said, we'll do a brief Q&A at the end. She'll be monitoring questions. I don't see them as they come in, and I believe we decided she'll pick 3, and we'll cover those at the end of the webinar. All right, the importance of web and email communications. So I have been online now and working in the nonprofit sector and nonprofit technology since 1999. And I've seen a lot of things come and go, social media, Snapchat, you name it. And what I find really interesting, as much as there is a lot of change and innovation in internet technology, still after 20 years, your website and your email marketing strategy or email fundraising strategy are the 2 most important tools. More important than Facebook, more important than Twitter, more important than AI or the Internet of Things or anything that's coming up now. It really is crucial that your organization focus on having a good website and an email strategy. And here's some data that backs up why. I want to talk first of all about mobile. 39% of US traffic last quarter was mobile. And interestingly enough, it was actually down. I haven't seen it go down in a long time. It didn't go down by much. And I was trying to think about that, about why that might be. It could be that smartphone sales are down. It could be that people decided to take a break during the holidays and it's just like, I'm going to be present and not on my smartphone. I'm not really sure, but it's still, I don't think this is a downward trend. But understanding that in the United States, 39% of traffic to your website is happening on a mobile device. That can either be a mobile phone or a tablet, but most likely a mobile phone. And if you don't have a mobile compatible website, then your website can't be read on a smartphone. Even more important, and you'll see why, is 1 out of 3 emails is now opened on a mobile device. In the United States, that's actually 32. No, actually, sorry. Okay, sorry, yeah. So in the United States, it's actually a little bit higher. The average is 33. In the United States, it is 48.38%. Interestingly, email is still one of the most popular things here in the United States, not as much internationally, but in the US, when it comes to fundraising, you really have to focus on having a mobile website and mobile compatible, mobile designed email. The reason why is 28% of all online revenue in 2017, and the new data on 2018 will come out next month. This is a must-read report for any nonprofit in the country. It's been around for 12 years, and what it is it's called the M&R Benchmarks Report. And they analyze the data usually every year of about 100 organizations, and then look at where is revenue coming. Email still drives more online donations than any other tool, more than Facebook, more than Twitter, more than getting a print e-newsletter in the mail. Email, and everybody's been saying email was gonna die, right? But in fact, it continues to grow in terms of its fundraising power. So when I was doing some research for this webinar, I looked up a couple of websites in the nonprofit sector, and I understand the small nonprofit, right? I mean, I understand you're cash strapped, you probably have volunteers, but for me, a real litmus test of whether a nonprofit truly understands the power of fundraising today is if they have an email newsletter opt-in on their homepage prominently featured. And I came across a lot that actually didn't. So I think one of the biggest, most harmful kind of myths that's been perpetuated during the rise of social media is that email is dying and that somehow social media or instant messaging or Facebook Messenger is going to replace email. That's just not actually proven to be true. In fact, it's growing with Gen Z. So when you look at this data, Gen Z, they are now 19 and younger. You look at millennials, I think the oldest millennial is now 37 or 38. The vast majority are increasing their use of email. And when they predict what they'll be using in the future and the speed of growth, Gen Z teenagers now entering college, millennials, 20-somethings, 30-somethings, email is the future for a lot of their communication. So when you combine that with what's actually raising the money, that's why this webinar is so important. It's not like the kind of fun little new tool, let's get on Snapchat and talk about Give STL Day. No, let's make sure we have a good website. Let's make sure we're doing email marketing, because if we're missing those two things, nothing else is going to work. So in terms of the top three website design best practices, I went and I found 3 websites in St. Louis. Just kind of take this in. It's nothing that you need to go and implement right away, but understand that this is where we're going. So we know mobile compatible, prioritize images over text, provide ample white space, and embrace iconography. Now, what is so amazing about this is I remember when we first started using websites in the nonprofit sector, it was, oh my gosh, no white space, right? Don't leave anything, fill everything in. Use the smallest font possible so we can fill as much as possible on our website. The aesthetic, the design has changed, and I think for a couple reasons. One, this is mobile compatible, mobile responsive, and it's a beautiful website. It's the Habitat for Humanity of St. Louis. I know a lot of small nonprofits out there like, okay, well, we can't do that, but I will show you some tools where you can get a very good website for less than $25, $30 a month. I want to point out the prominently featured donate button. Orange is the new red. For about 15 years, data proved that red donate buttons got clicked on the most. Now it's actually orange. It pops out, it's a different color, it's one of the first things you see, and that's intentional. Lots of white space, big font. Images actually take precedence over the text. They're telling their stories through their images. What's also important is iconography. Hammer, key, hard hat. There's something about current design trends where people respond to iconography. Prominently feature a donate button, number 2, social networking icons, and an e-newsletter opt-in on every single page of your website. So let's look at Conservation International. Let's compare. Habitat for Humanity, donate button at the top. Unfortunately, the email newsletter is way at the bottom. To each their own, maybe they have some data that proves that works, connect with us. But for me, in my particular blog, if I put my email newsletter at the bottom of the page or the bottom of the right bar, the connect with us, nobody clicks on it. So in my data, in my analysis, there's good reason to have it at the top. So let's look at Conservation International. Email opt-in. They mention it twice. Over here, there's actually a subscribe button. They want that email address. Why? Because they know that's how they're going to raise the bulk of their money. Again, an orange donate button. When you hover over it, one time, monthly, and social networking icons. This is a litmus test for me. If I go to a nonprofit website, it takes me longer than 3 seconds to find a donate button. Their email newsletter opt-in is buried or at the bottom of the page, or even worse, they don't even have one. If the social networking icons aren't there, not very many people are going to actually go, I like that nonprofit. Let me go to their website. Can't find their Facebook page on their website. Let me go over to Facebook and search for them. You have to make this easy for them to do. And the reason why, because yes, website and email, the 2 most important tools, but you're going to drive traffic back to that website from social media. You're going to use social media to build your email newsletter list. So all of those have to be incorporated into one comprehensive online marketing strategy. Website, email, prominently featured donate button, prominently featured social networking icons, and an email marketing strategy. A third point is with mobile. Increasingly what I'm seeing is this is the United Way of St. Louis. Again, beautiful picture. They do have the red button, but it's not click here, see this. It's not an underline. They're using large tappable buttons. Glad to see that email newsletter right there prominently featured on the page, that e-newsletter opt-in. Clicking buttons, right? Because when you think about it, there's a good chance this is being viewed on a mobile device. So thinking about tapping with a finger rather than clicking with a mouse. If you need a new website, you're a small nonprofit, you don't have the budget that the United Way of St. Louis has or Habitat for Humanity that St. Louis has, Squarespace is a wonderful resource. I remember when I first started working in the nonprofit sector, we built the first website for the nonprofit I was at. It was hand-coded. It took $60,000. We were a tiny organization, and we couldn't actually update it ourselves. We had to pay the website designer $75 an hour, even if we just wanted to change a misspelling. Squarespace exists today. It runs about $20 a month. You just plug in your own images, insert your own text. It even has a donation function. If you have a Square account, you can embed donate pages and monthly giving pages directly into the website. So having a poorly designed website in today's world, there's really not a good reason for it unless you don't have the time. And then if you can, find a volunteer who's working in web development at your local university. They're trying to build their portfolio and get a good website. Same with Wix. I used Wix years ago. I didn't like it. People have been telling me it's gotten much, much better. Here are templates. You upload one photo. They're mobile responsive. You can put the name of your organization instead of text. You can have a donate button in the upper right-hand corner, an email newsletter subscribe. If you want to blog in it, $27 a month. You just can't beat the tools that are available today. I also wanted to let you know about Wired Impact. They are based in St. Louis. I'm a big fan. They charge $249 a month for their platform, built specifically for nonprofits. Monthly giving, donate pages, they will set up the website for you. They will maintain it. They'll host it. They'll set up your email accounts. They'll set up your MailChimp account, volunteer management system, an event registration like Give STL Day, and incorporating social media and all that into your website. They run $249 a month. I had a call last week, a web developer, a nonprofit's looking for a website. He gave a quote. It was $50,000 to $90,000. So $3,000 a year for an excellent website. If you get one $3,000 donation, it's paid for itself. Here's another tip. This is so important. I made this mistake. I was asleep. I snoozed. And I learned the hard way. Google will no longer crawl websites that don't have a security certificate. This is a big deal. What is a security certificate? It basically means you have an S at the end of HTTP. It'll say HTTPS. So if you go look at Nonprofit Tech for Good, let me tell you what happened. I didn't pay attention. I wasn't listening. It wasn't a secure site. I didn't have S. What happened was my search engine referral traffic got blocked by Google. My traffic dropped in half in December. Then my website got phished. People stole all the content, the email addresses, and started phishing people from my website. So it was a big mistake that I made. And here's the crazy thing. You call Bluehost, GoDaddy, whoever your website host is, if you don't have an SSL, they'll install one for free, usually. If not, it's not going to run you more than $10 a year. This is so important right now with the fact that I'm learning, and I've actually been made quite aware. I never really thought much about security. Coming of age in the internet in the late 90s, it was like late 90s, like, ooh, love the internet. The internet's a wonderful, wonderful place. In reality, it's been taken over by millions and millions of hacker bots. And you have to be very, very careful and prioritize security for your website. And one of the easiest, most effective ways to do that is to get an SSL. In terms of email marketing, here are your best practices. Now, this is all over the board, right? Some nonprofits, they'll send out an email every 3 months. Some will do it every week. I will say that I think the every 3 month strategy is a bad strategy. Instead of sending out an email every 3 months with 6 stories, send out an email every month with 2 stories. Even better, send out an email newsletter twice a month. And I want to say by email newsletter, this is kind of an old term, and we haven't really found a new one. It doesn't mean you send a newsletter that looks like a print newsletter and it's got a bunch of stories in it. Because email formatting has changed. One, half of them are reading it on a mobile device. They're skimming. They're looking for calls to action that are large tappable buttons. They're not reading a lot of your email newsletter. So keeping text brief, and if there is an article that's longer, link to it in the email newsletter, so you draw traffic to your website. Short emails, guess what happened on this day? Email, 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 email. You send out an email and then it drives traffic the rest of the week. I have 1 million followers on social media. I have 22,000 email newsletter subscribers. And by far, email drives the vast majority of my traffic. So I was kind of a little brokenhearted when I started researching nonprofits in St. Louis, and it's kind of hard to wrap my head around that in the year 2019, nonprofits still aren't publishing email newsletters or building their email list. You're just fighting your own, you're creating headwinds for yourself in terms of online fundraising if you're not really understanding the power of email. And online marketers, online fundraisers who do, they concentrate on building their email list. So start it twice a month and then speed it up during Give STL Day, Giving Tuesday, and of course, December. And somebody has to write an email and have an email go out on December 31st if you're not actually in the office. Because 30% of all online giving occurs in December. The highest average donation rate, the highest gift is actually on December 31st at $236. The rest of the year, it's $148. And 10% of all online giving occurs in the last 3 days of the year. This has to do with people rushing in to get it in before the end of tax season. Now, the new tax law changed that a little bit, but we didn't notice a big difference. At the end of 2018, like a massive sudden drop of giving. It's just people do it, it's on their list, it's a habit. Email will drive minimum 1 out of every 4 online dollars that you raise. Of course, mobile compatible. If you sign up for a service like MailChimp, which we'll look at in a minute, they have templates. Mobile responsive. In terms of design, understanding that a lot of you are small nonprofits, you don't have a graphic designer on staff, one very simple thing that you can do is just do a header image. Rotate it once a month, rotate it once a quarter. So this is the Nature Conservancy. They change that photo in every edition. Notice the Sign Our Pledge orange button. It's not just a link. It's something because they understand 1 out of 2 people are opening that on a mobile device, so they want to do that call to action. They do an orange link. If you don't want to do images, just do your logo. Like Nature Conservancy, left-hand corner with a green line under it, and you can go directly into your text there. In terms of design, single column. Not multiple columns, not multiple fancy. It doesn't need to look like a print newsletter. You do 1 or 2 calls to action or 1 or 2 stories. Give to us. Sign up to become an ambassador for Give STL Day. RSVP for our event on Facebook. And spread it out, depending on how often you think you can email. I do it once a week. You can do it twice a month. And let me tell you something. People that opt out and you're afraid of sending too much email because they'll get off your list, they didn't want to be on your list in the first place. So don't be afraid to use email differently. Don't be afraid to send email. Another thing you can do, and which is important, is prominently feature social networking icons and a Donate Now button in every edition of your email newsletter. This is actually a little difficult to do. They had to hire an HTML person. But if you dedicate a good hour in MailChimp, you'll be able to figure out how to do it. Social networking icons and Donate Now at the top of every email. Top of every email newsletter. A donation appeal is different. right? All it is you're asking for a donation. Give to us on Give STL Day. Save the date, it's Give STL Day, right? Really, really important. Just like a website, prominently featured at the top of their email newsletter. In terms of resources, I've used them all. Vertical response, constant contact, eye contact, you name it. MailChimp's my favorite. A lot of small nonprofits on the call. It's free if you have less than 2,000 subscribers, right? That's amazing. Right now, I think for my list, I'm paying with a 10% discount because, not because I'm a nonprofit, but I help nonprofits. So they give me the discount anyway. I pay $190 a month for 22,000 email newsletter subscribers. And that is just the cost of doing business, just like it's just the cost of raising money online. One thing I want to show you, because we're going to talk a lot about it here in a minute, is MailChimp landing pages. So you can actually create a landing page. I send this out on Twitter, Facebook, right? You can create a unique URL, go to MailChimp.com, nonprofit chart for good, put it on print materials, and it'll link directly to a page where people can subscribe. You can add your logo there. You can add buttons, you can add text, you can add images. It's basically a mini page. And the one thing that you need to have on it is an email address opt-in. So this is really important, and not just in terms of building your email list, linking to this on your website. If you don't know how to, hold on a second. If you don't know how to actually create an email opt-in, then you can just say subscribe to our email newsletter on your website and link to this page. You can create as many landing pages as you want. You can use it to sell a t-shirt. You can use it to recruit fundraisers for your Give STL campaign, Give STL Day campaign. You can use it as a landing page for your Give STL Day page. If your website isn't very well designed or doesn't have great functionality, this is an alternative where you can, within 10 minutes on the internet, have an own unique page that's well designed with an email opt-in. In terms of tips here, email newsletters, subject lines, no email newsletter edition 26. Next week, email newsletter edition 27. That's very 2001. Tweak in the subject lines, tease what's inside of the email newsletter. Short, 50 characters or less. Why 50? Because that's the maximum number of characters you'll see for a subject line in most mobile email clients. There's also data that emojis, not only in tweets and on Facebook, but also in email subject lines, increase open rates. This is one of my favorite sites, believe it or not. I use it every single day, and it is called Emojipedia. And what's great about it, let's say you're a zoo or something, or it's World Wildlife Day, and you want to grab a gorilla, you just copy it. You can put that anywhere online, and it'll copy the emoji. So yes, we all use emojis on mobile devices, but here's how you use them in web marketing, email marketing, by going to Emojipedia and copying the emojis. So that's kind of a crash course on best practices for website and email marketing. It's so important for Give STL Day. Odds are you probably participate in Giving Tuesday, your year-end fundraising campaign, having the basics of a good website, consistently building your email list. But for giving days, it's a little bit different. So I always get lost a little bit. In my head, when I look over this, I go a little bit into the weeds here. What I'm going to show you, it doesn't mean you literally need to do everything that I say, and there's a lot. I remember giving this presentation last year. I think it was at the food bank, yeah, the St. Louis Food Bank. And when I got to this section, I just felt like, oh my gosh, this is so much data, and I was a little lost. So I'm going to try to give it real slowly and show you visually. And remember that this webinar is being recorded. You will also receive a PDF of this PowerPoint. But to get started on your website, you need to create an online hub. And I'll just say from the start, what that hub will be is a page that talks about Give STL Day. We'll look at an example here in a minute, what it is important dates. If you want to recruit people to fundraise, to create their own fundraising campaigns, then there's a link and information on how to do that. If you want to build a social media ambassador program, then you have to create a page and link to it on this primary hub. You want to grow your email list using this Give STL Day landing page. Let me show you an example. And yes, I know we're not World Vision, but what's really smart about this is look at the URL. Notice the S, of course. It's a secure site. Giving Tuesday. So you could have Give STL Day. You can create this page and it just sits on your website, right? You could have yourdomainname.org/Give STL Day. So every year, all you have to do is update it. Here's their page for Giving Tuesday. They should already have the date for this year's. They're a little behind on that. Great big Give Now button. I think you're noticing the orange is everywhere. Pictures, Give Now again. Iconography, Giving Tuesday FAQ, so maybe you want to Give STL Day FAQ on your site. Give Now, those are campaigns, all right? Like you have on Give STL Day, these are campaigns, crowdfunding campaigns essentially. So creating a primary hub on your website for Give STL Day that you can update and reuse every year is important. If you don't have, and again, there's probably as many people as on this webinar, is as varieties as your content management system is, right? Some of you are using WordPress, some of you are using something else, some of you might even be old school and still be hard coding. So do what you can. You know your website better than anyone else. But one alternative, if you have a poorly designed website or old functionality and you're looking at this and you're like, I can't create a good looking page, I can't upload an email newsletter opt-in, I can't do any of this, I don't know how to do any of this. I will say again, going back to MailChimp landing pages, you can create one, MailChimp/yourdomain/Give STL Day. If your website, now Habitat for Humanity St. Louis, they can create a beautiful Give STL Day page. United Way, they can create a beautiful Give STL Day page on their website because they have beautiful websites. If you don't, this is an alternative. Let me show you. Where was it? There was an interaction. You can do, hold on, I wanted to actually show that was the wrong link. So let's say, for example, you have this. That picture can be a picture of your community, the Give STL Day logo. You can do a banner, and it literally is drag and drop. If you work in MailChimp already, you can add as many photos as you like, as many buttons as you like. Donate button, fundraise for us button, subscribe to our email newsletter button, follow us on Facebook. You can have a nice, pretty right bar. That right bar here, they're just selling a pair of tennis shoes, but it can have multiple blocks of content. And it's very much drag and drop. So this is what MailChimp is for those of you who don't work in it, right? You drag and drop a text box over. You drag and drop an image over. You insert a button. Maybe you do a table. Super intuitive. And it's just amazing. And in 2019, provided you have the time and the passion, if you're a small nonprofit with not a great web presence, there are alternatives out there that you can use to be successful on Give STL Day. Now, I don't actually suggest that you publish this page till April 2nd. And the reason for that is, why do you want to promote Give STL Day before then if nobody can actually make a donation? On Give STL on April 2nd, people can begin pre-scheduled donations, right? So if you start promoting it 2 weeks before this, hey, save the date, save the date, save the date, then by the time the pre-scheduled donation functionality is enabled on April 2nd, people have already heard about it. So my personal advice is wait until April 2nd, so then you can start bringing in those donations. The other day I went to a website, I can't remember what it was. It was like Save the Elephant Day or World Wildlife Day or World Pangolin Day. And I can't tell you how often this happens. It's weird, like we live in these bubbles, like, yes, we're doing this all day in, all day out. And they always forget to put the date, right? So Give STL Day Seems obvious, but you would be so surprised how many people forget to put the date. They'll have a giant campaign website about World Elephant Day, and then forget to put the date of World Elephant Day right there prominently. May 1st, big, large, bold, at the top. And you want to consider linking to the Give STL Day hashtag. You might not live on Twitter, like Twitter, understand Twitter, but, oh, thank you, Sarah Wiley, that's very nice. But having a link to the hashtag, people can see when they click on it, what people are actually saying in real time about that. As we get closer to it, the momentum will build up. There'll be lots of tweets out there, and people can see that, hey, this is something, and there's activity on this. Large, bold font at the top of your landing page. Include 1 or 2 paragraphs about Give STL Day. It doesn't need to have, the entire history, 5 paragraphs. You don't need to put 6 paragraphs about the history of your organization. That's what your website's for. In these sorts of campaigns, you don't want a lot of clutter. You don't want people reading about the history when instead you want to be inspiring to click on the donate button or to sign up to become a social media ambassador. On this page, and I'll show you a mock-up of it I did in the next slide, add a donate button, right? This is your landing page, add a donate button, have it linked directly to your campaign page. Not to your donate page on your website, this is your Give STL Day hub page. Add an email newsletter opt-in. You are going to be promoting this page on social media, in your email list, your social media ambassadors, perhaps your board members. They're going to be sharing this link. Have an email opt-in. Going back to this page, there is one thing that I want to tell you. So this, let's say I had here just a subscribe now button and I didn't have the opt-in box, but just subscribe now and it linked to this. I get triple the opt-ins to my email newsletter if they aren't sent to a secondary page. Now, how you put this in a web page. Again, remember, it's already built in if you're going to use this as your landing page, as your hub. But if you've got a blog, if you've got a website, and you want to put this kind of opt-in, it's a piece of HTML code in the back end of MailChimp. And it's literally just copy and paste. So in terms of strategy, growing your list the fastest, having that kind of opt-in works best. If not, just link to your email opt-in page. And then this year, Give STL Day, they actually made a small little web ad for you. So this is a 2x1 dimension. Let me show you of that in action. So just yesterday, I launched a new survey. This is a banner ad. It's the same size as this, just a little bit smaller. After you create your online hub, put it in your right bar, put it somewhere on your website, and use this as a web ad. It's so amazing to me. You'll even notice it now. You go to blogs, you go to websites. Often there's a right bar or a left bar, and it's just empty, 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 empty. This is my own free advertising. And remember when I told you that if I move the icons or the email newsletter, let's say it was to move those below the fold. What that means is that when you land on the website, you don't see them right away. So above the fold is what you're seeing right now. Below the fold means it would be down here. The number, my email newsletter opt-in plummets. My new followers, my click-throughs to Instagram plummet. So I can't stress enough having social media icons, your email newsletter opt-in, your Giving Tuesday, ad that you're going to put on your own website or blog, prominently featured above the fold. So let's look at a mock-up. I am not saying at all that you need to exactly design it this way. Because again, if there's 70 people on this webinar, there's 70 different backends for 70 different websites. But just think about the strategy. First of all, a very simple thing. The banner at the top, it should link to your page on givestlday.org. Here's the thing, on mobile devices, a lot of people just tap the first image they see. It's just instinctual. So make sure that goes to your profile on Give STL Day. First time you mention Give STL Day, again, link to your profile profile, not to the homepage of Give STL Day. You don't want to send them there and then they search for other nonprofits. It's always driving traffic to your profile page. Remember, April 2nd, donate buttons, link to your profile. They will be able to pre-schedule by then. 3 steps. This is crazy. It works every single time. And just getting used to writing content like this, a great big about Give STL Day, a great big space. It's easy on the eyes. 1 paragraph, maybe 2 paragraphs, but no more than 2 or 3 sentences a paragraph. Short, succinct, clear. And that's actually a real talent. Anybody can kind of just go on forever and wordy sentences and blah, 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 blah. That's great for print. It's not great for online. Not when the primary focus is a call to action. Not get educated on a subject. The primary reason for having this page is to get a donation, to get people to fundraise for you, to get people to sign up for your email newsletter. So get to Dutchtown South on May 1st. Say that date again. We've got it 3 times already on this page. In the banner, in the first paragraph, in the #1 heading, and then again. You can't just stress this enough because people's brains are different now. They process the internet differently. They skim a page, and they click on links. If you say visit Give STL Day on May 1st, or in bold, pre-schedule your donation now. Again, it goes to your profile page. There'll be a button, I can't remember what it says, but Neosha could probably tell you at the end of the webinar, something like schedule your donation now. Right? So put that in there. And again, to be reminded on May 1st to give, sign up for our email newsletter. So yes, you've got the email newsletter subscribe on the right, but it's passive. Literally say, if you want to receive an email on the morning of May 1st, sign up for our email newsletter, send them again to your email opt-in page. Constant Contact has these as well, right? So most nonprofits either use MailChimp or Constant Contact. Creating landing pages is also a functionality in Constant Contact. Over on the right, we're going to talk about this a little bit more, like fundraise, peer-to-peer fundraising, create a personal fundraiser, right? For us on Give STL Day. So this is an example of what those look like. And the button will soon be there where people can go and fundraise for this campaign. They can create their own campaigns, right? Email newsletter opt-in, same thing. It's either this box directly into it, but if you don't know how to work with that HTML code, then link to the page. Social media icons. Whoops, hold on, that's the wrong link. Let me just show you social media icons. You just go in, icon finder, thousands upon thousands upon thousands of them that are free. Same thing with iconography. There's a project, this won't be in the notes, Noun Project. Icons for every single little thing you could possibly imagine. So when we looked at Habitat for Humanity's website, and they had a key and a hard hat and a little house and all this stuff, all free here at the Noun Project. And they're in a format where you can change the color. The default color is black, but you can change them to any color that you would like. If you've got some filler space, put a quote about giving. Put a quote from one of the community members that you serve. Now, in terms of creating a fundraiser or asking people to fundraise, you have to decide what you're going to do and how much time you can actually invest in this campaign. So are you just going to create a hub page, or are you actually going to also ask people to fundraise for you? So if you want to do that, what I would honestly suggest, you could keep it on one page, one paragraph, but you can also create secondary pages, and I'll show you an example in just a minute. A third thing that you can do is recruit people as ambassadors. So let me show you what I mean by both of these things. Recruit fundraisers. So this would be a second page, and I'll summarize all this at the end of the webinar. You create your primary landing page. You can put the pitch there to, hey, fundraise for us on Give STL Day, or you can create a secondary page and then link back to it on your primary landing page. What is the benefit of having a second page is you can go into more detail. That keeps your online home, your landing page short, not super long and scrolling. So you break out these pieces of content in different pages. Guess what? Your website doesn't do that, you can create 3 separate landing pages inside of MailChimp and then all link to them together. You can do the same thing on Wix. You can do the same thing with Squarespace. So a fundraiser recruitment page, the Give STL Day campaign, the St. Louis Community Foundation, they provided copy for you. Tweak it, copy and paste it, tweak it for your own community. You will get the email addresses of people that are fundraising for you. This is important. From the St. Louis Community Foundation, from the GiveSTLDay.org campaign. So you'll want to create a separate list for them. So inside MailChimp, you've got your primary newsletter. Then maybe you'll have a list for social media ambassadors. And then you'll have a list for fundraisers. See the little icon over there with the plus sign and the little human? When you get an email from Give STL Day, just copy and paste, go into your backend in MailChimp and add them to that list. Because each one you're going to be communicating with different. Your monthly newsletter, your bi-monthly newsletter, that's standard. That goes out to everybody. The social media ambassador list, you might be like, hey, we've just uploaded some banners to Dropbox, grab them here. Here's some sample text you can use on Twitter. When you're trying to engage your fundraisers, you're sending them tips. You're saying 1 week until Give STL Day. Have you updated your Facebook profile? So create a separate email list for fundraisers. And the thing that's important to understand is this might seem like a lot of work, but once you get started and just go through the checklist and get it set up, it goes on repeat every year. And not only that, your fundraisers can be tapped in to fundraise for you on Giving Tuesday. Maybe you want to do a special fundraising campaign in February of next year. You are laying a foundation of 1, building your list to be good at online fundraising, 2, growing lists of people that will actually fundraise for you, peer-to-peer fundraise. And then number 3, you might only get 3 people this year that are willing to promote your campaign on social media. But next year, you'll get 18 more. And it'll grow every year, particularly if you work with a lot of volunteers. So an example, fundraise for Give STL Day. Again, always Give STL Day should go to your primary page. Tell them how to create a personal campaign page. Link directly to the page where they can create one or fundraise or, go through that process. Give them a little bit of text, put some fundraising best practices. Tell them, say, hey, start with $250. If you reach that goal, you can increase it to $500. One of the biggest mistakes is people that are really zealous and excited and don't know anything about fundraising online, they'll put like a $5,000 goal and then they'll raise 15 bucks and then they're just disheartened. Tell them to start small. Give them the banners. Let them know how they can email their friends and do a proper give. The same thing with the Give STL Day Ambassador Program. I'm not saying you have to do this. Again, this is all dependent upon your capability, your capacity. Maybe you only create the landing page. If you have the capacity to, make an effort to recruit fundraisers, create the page to recruit fundraisers. Recruit them year-round. Same thing going to the 3rd step. If you have the capability to launch a social media ambassador program, then do it. But don't stress out if you don't, right? Because you're busy. The primary thing is just to have the landing page. But beyond that, there are other things that you can do to ensure that your Give STL Day is the most successful that it can be. So create a Give STL Day ambassador recruitment page. They will need a separate email list. I showed you that already. Send them sample email, text, and social media graphics, and then tap into them year-round. Here's an example. Become a Give STL Day ambassador. Sign up to become an ambassador. So you link them to a page where they can enter their email address, and instead of this, saying Nonprofit Tech for Good, it would be become an ambassador for Dutchtown South. You can literally throw this page together in 3 minutes in MailChimp, and they enter their email address. It automatically goes into a separate list that you can then engage them as an ambassador. Tell them to follow you on social media. It's so sad when I go to a website and I cannot find a link to their Facebook page. And maybe I just had bad luck, but I literally went to 3 small nonprofits in St. Louis. The large ones have it, of course, but I went to 3 and none of them had it. So make sure you link directly to your social networking profiles. Let people know where they're going to find it. And then in terms of providing them Give STL Day promo text, Giving Tuesday promo text, use Dropbox. Dropbox, I'm using a free account again. In 1999, if you would have told me that all these amazing free tools existed, I would have been blown away. So right now I'm launching a survey. I'm asking people to promote it. The survey is in 4 languages. So I am providing them graphics in 4 languages. This is a public link. Anybody can click on it and download those images. So instead of like actually, emailing it to them one-on-one going, here are your graphics, when a lot of people are nervous to download or to open attachments on emails, right? Because there's a lot of malware now on attachments. You can just send them directly to Dropbox and they can download them themselves. In terms of an email strategy, short and sweet, here's what I would suggest. On April 2nd, all staff emails, your email newsletter, so every person that you have working there, add a footer to the bottom of your email communications. Here, you're just kind of working up to it. You're not sending out an email yet that says save the day. You're not, like being super aggressive. It's just here from every email this way forward until May 1st, you have a footer image in your email communications, right? So in Outlook, you go to the settings, you go to stationery, something like that, upload an image to your signature. You can create one in Canva. I remember when I gave you a training last year and I asked people about Canva. That's strange, I've never done that before. I think that's only because I linked to it. Yeah, that's weird. Canva is amazing, right? So all of the images from my blog, right? All of them, free webinar, fundraising, I create them all in Canva. Occasionally, I will have to spend $1, right? And buy a graphic like this one, but it's worth the $1. You can create so many. I have a particular style, simple background, iconography, no pictures of humans or animals, no photography, basically. That's a personal aesthetic of mine. But it's an amazing tool that, again, if we had had it in 1999, I think we all just would have been blown away. Alternatively, you can use the banner provided by Give STL Day. Use it as a footer in every single email address that goes out from all staff. Not till April 2nd, when people can actually give. Then sometime that week, between April 2nd and April 9th, send a save the date email. Literally copy and paste the content from your landing page, right? Here's what it is. Here's where we're participating. Give to us now. Pre-schedule your event, or give to us on May 1st, or pre-schedule your event now. Want to fundraise for us? Want to become a social media ambassador? Put all that information there and use the Give STL Day banner as a header image, right? I can't show it to you. I wanted to show you, I would have to open my email account to show you that. But you can take that header image and put it at the top. Oh, I am going to show you. Just give me a minute here. I want to open my Outlook account so I can give you a visual on what the save the date email looks like. So, oh, no, that's not it. Where is it? Give me a second. I swear it's worth it. Where is it? Where is it? Of course, now that I know you're all watching me trying to find something, then I can't. Here's what I wanted to show you. So I just announced the survey. It's an email banner. Here's what I've learned. I've done so many different kind of layouts and color schemes and, how long the paragraph's supposed to be. Here's the magic recipe that I've found works when you're launching any kind of singular call to action. In this case, save the date or make a pre-scheduled donation, sign up to become a fundraiser. For this one, it's take a survey. The banner at the top, use the banner that Give STL Day gave you, design your own in Canva, whatever it is. Make sure that banner actually links, right? So you can attach a link to email images. Make sure it links to your page on Give STL Day, short paragraphs. whatever it is that you're asking them to do, link to it in the first sentence, right? So save the date, give STL day is May 1st. Literally hyperlink, give STL day is May 1st. Send it directly to your profile on givestlday.org. Short and sweet. Images for buttons. So in this case, pre-schedule your donation now. Fundraise, create a fundraiser now. Sign up to become an ambassador now. Use those buttons, keep it short. Sometimes you'll want to do a secondary call. Do it with one sentence hyperlinked in between two paragraphs. Short, sweet, white background, dark text, and a link color. You can change the link colors. It could be orange. Here's the crazy thing. I love this stuff because still in 2019, I'm still learning things. I've been experimenting with link colors. Purple works really well. Orange works really well. Red works really well. This idea that we have to stay with the standard blue, it's passé. Then about 3 weeks later, about a week before, all right, here's the thing. It's kind of knowing that balance between, do I promote it a bunch, launch it, get it online, put it in your email footer, mention it in email newsletters, but don't get real aggressive until about the week before, because they will get tired of hearing about it if you're talking about it nonstop for a month. Send a save the date, then this free schedule your donation, and all that is, hey, give now. It'll be processed on May 1st, but sign up, schedule that donation, and then on Give STL Day itself, again, don't be afraid to use email. If people unsubscribe because you send them 2 emails on Give STL Day, then odds are they likely weren't going to ever donate anyway. So you haven't lost a valuable contact. You just essentially cleaned up your list. Announce that today is Give STL Day. Now, I know revolving a lot of this is around the prize schedule. And I remember we had a discussion about that, and they really work. Emails early in the morning work very well. I would schedule it to go out with the first prize. I would schedule another one if you're comfortable with about midday, and even a third one saying, we're almost there, we've reached our goal. So schedule your email to power hours, link to your campaign pages, embrace your fundraisers going, today's the day, here's some tips that you can do today, here's the update, we're up to 40%, try maybe to post another post on Facebook so we can reach our goal today, consistently engage ambassadors throughout the day through email, Wednesday, May 1st, and then of course, within a week, send a thank you email, let people know that they were successful, or that the campaign was successful, say, next year, if you'd like to become a fundraiser, let us know. We'll get you on that list. If you'd like to think about becoming an ambassador for Giving Tuesday, let us know. We'll add you to that list. So in terms of what I hope that you can take away from this webinar today is, number one, create a Give STL Day landing page that has all the calls to action I told you about. You can do one paragraph as become a fundraiser, or you can do a separate page and separate email list. It's up to you how you manage that. I would say for a Habitat, for a United Way, really having multiple pages, taking this very seriously, relaunching this campaign every year, doing the hard work now so that every year it's already set up, creating the ambassador recruitment page, optional, but the 2 things that are not optional are a Give STL Day landing page and a Give STL Day email strategy. We are religiously sending a save the date when the pre-scheduled donations things goes into effect. We are actually going to ask people a week before via email, pre-schedule your donation. On the day of, here we get prizes. Somebody's going to be up at 5 a.m. that morning, working that day, monitoring email, monitoring social media. And then, of course, the thank you email. Some people will tell you within 2 days. I've actually noticed there's just something about me that if I get an email a week later, then I'm like, hey, they put some effort to it. They've got everything together. It's not this canned, spammed thank you, but actually a legitimate one. All right, so let's go into questions, Neosha.
Sure. So we have a question from Krista Brown. She asks, are you an advocate of pop-up out or opt-in windows on a website? We have gotten a lot of signups through our pop-up.
I am. I didn't used to be, but again, one of the things is what's old is new again, and not getting uh, kind of entrenched in your ideas. You have to be open that things are constantly changing. I think pop-ups in the middle of a page are obnoxious, and I wouldn't do that. I'm looking into adding one to my blog right now. We're custom designing it to where it just pop-ups, it actually slides up in the lower right. All right, and they work. There's a lot of data that says like email grows really quickly when you use these pop-ups. 5 years ago, pop-up, boo, boo, no way, that's so obnoxious. But now it's just becoming a normal part of the website design and website experience.
Fantastic. Laura Amlong asks, how does WordPress compare as a web design tool versus Squarespace?
Well, WordPress.org just has a lot more functionality. So WordPress.com, like you would have a WordPress.com domain, or you could get a redirect. Nonprofit Tech for Good used to be on WordPress.com. The thing is, when you use a site like Squarespace, they've got pretty strong firewalls, and so does WordPress. But a lot of hacker bots, specifically, this is sad to me, but they're specifically targeting WordPress because it's the largest CMS in the world. If you were to use WordPress, I would highly suggest WordPress.org, and then getting a theme and actually designing a website on a WordPress.org site. For me, let's say if I was to do this all over again, I probably would not have gone with WordPress.com for my blog. I would have gone with the Squarespace or a Wix.
Nice. All right, and our last question asks, where will the PowerPoint be available? This is Neosha, and I will send out the PowerPoint to all the participants, as well as place on the nonprofit, the resource tab on the back end of the website for all of the nonprofits that are registered. So all of the graphics, the PowerPoint presentation will be available then. So at the conclusion of this webinar, I'll be sure to get it posted. So I want to be mindful of everyone's time. It is now 10:59, the St. Louis time. We have 1 minute, but I want to thank everyone for joining us today. And I definitely want to thank Heather for being a part of the webinar and being a part of Give STL Day. We've enjoyed her so much. So with that, I hope everyone has a great day. And if you need anything from the Community Foundation, please reach out to us at info@stlgives.org. And Heather, how can they follow you?
Just visit my website, nptechforgood.com. And I wish you all great success. I hope you raise a lot of money on Give STL Day.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Neosha.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.